I don't know how this happened, but December is basically here. Winter is coming. I can't believe that this is the last month of the year. Like, it honestly hasn't really hit me yet. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing so well today. I am really excited to jump into some winter DIYs. I really hope that you guys take some inspiration away from this week's video because I'm creating some DIY decor with things that I already have around the house. There is so much potential using things that you probably are using every single day, and usually I use things like paper waste and cardboard, which I have plenty of. But this time I wanted to challenge myself, so I was sitting there on my laptop trying to brainstorm some ideas, and I was feeling a little bit stuck, so I actually got up, walked around the whole entire apartment, and the kitchen is actually the best place that I found the most amount of items. I had jars, I had a bunch of plastic cups and water bottles, and that really got my gears turning, so I have a couple of ideas that I want to try out today. I'm also going to use up all scrap materials and things I already have. I think I'm going to try and not spend any additional money on these DIYs. Without further ado, let's jump right on into the first project. No matter what time of year it is, it could be freezing out and you will find me at a coffee shop or a matcha shop, and they usually put their drinks in little plastic cups, so I like to save them. I keep these under my sink and I like to reuse them. And then I also have a bunch of plastic water bottles, and my idea for this is to somehow create some type of gnome slash fairy house. So this is kind of a tradition that we started last year, but we started buying the gnomes at IKEA. They are just so cute, and this year I bought a giant one and a really tiny one. I'm pretty sure that going forward we're gonna add a couple more gnomes to our collection, so I thought it was very fitting to make a little gnome house that we can keep out during the winter season. Not exactly sure how we're gonna achieve this, but I'm thinking this one will be like the base in the center. I think the cups will be great just to cut it out and then make this bottom part a little bit bigger and then have it taper up top. So here is what we're working with. I have some leftover packaging that I made a cone out of. And then inside we have 2 water bottles and a plastic cup. This part honestly doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna cover it up with yarn, and I'm also gonna add a little window and also a little door. And I'm thinking that I'm going to make a hole at the bottom of the bottle so I can put some string lights in the middle, and then it's gonna look extra magical. But for now, this is what we got. Okay, this has cooled down, so let's pop it out and see how it turned out. Whoa, that was so easy. And you could still see all the detail too. Okay, this method gets an A+ in my book. With this video, I really hope it inspires you guys to look at items in a different way, because for this project, it called for a styrofoam cone for the base, which you could definitely buy, but if it's going to be covered anyways, why not just use some trash? You'll see as I'm building this out that I ended up using a lot of things that I find around the apartment or I have been saving up. My DIY brain always holds on to things just in case I can make something with it. Like, I always see the potential, so being a hoarder definitely comes in handy for a project like this. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are the same way. way, which I think is both good and bad because figuring out how to store all these scraps is a never-ending issue. I just end up throwing everything into a pile, but I think at this point I really should organize it and sort it all out because this craft room is getting a little bit out of hand lately. I have been in here every single day working on different projects, which by the way, some of them are only going to be on Instagram. I'm really excited about them, and if you're looking for more winter DIY inspo, make sure to follow me on Instagram so that you don't miss them. We are getting somewhere, you guys. I just finished the door and then making this little window. I'm so happy with this. Like, how cute. This little window is gonna go up top over here, and I actually made it with an old garland that I've had lying around for a couple years now. This is left over from that giant wreath that I made a couple of years ago, and it is so perfect because it has lots of red, and then it also has these little stars, which I'm thinking I can use one right on the top. Like, this worked out so perfectly. I had a little bit of leftover moss, which I used for the door, but I did not have enough to like cover this whole thing, so I went out and bought this one, and this is actually more like a grassy one, which I really like the look of. It actually almost matches the yarn perfectly, but to get this on, I'm gonna use Mod Podge first because I don't want there to be a lot of like shiny hot glue underneath, so I'm gonna use this method first and see how it goes. Something that I always have around the house are jars. I don't know why, I just cannot throw them away. So whenever we finish a jar, I like to clean it up and then use it for something else. This used to be a salsa jar that we got in Albuquerque on a road trip here. They are known for their green chilies. So Brian ate up the whole jar. I cannot eat spicy food, so I did not have any, but I am going to fully use this to create a piece of decor that I've actually had saved for a while. I will link the original video, but when I saw this idea, I knew I had to make it for winter time, whether that was for Thanksgiving or Christmas. This is such a great way to upcycle your old jars, and all you really need is a bag of air dry clay and some paint. If you're watching this video when it goes live, I just quickly want to say happy Thanksgiving. I am forever grateful for each and every single one of you. Having all of you guys in this community has been amazing, and I'm so glad I've gotten to share so many different projects with you this past year. So thank you for being here and letting me share what I love to do most with you all. This year we had a very low-key Thanksgiving with just Brian and I made my first ever turkey. I was so nervous about it because I have had zero experience with cooking turkey, but it actually turned out so good. There is no dry turkey in this house, so I was basting and injecting it like every 30 minutes. We literally cooked all day. We really enjoyed the whole process together, and everything came out delicious, so I guess it was worth it in the end. We made everything from scratch except for dessert, so this is actually going to be the only dessert I'm making for the holidays this year, and every time I look at it, it's going to remind me of the Thanksgiving that I made my first turkey. this is the next day now, and I noticed a little bit of cracking over here. So what I usually do is take some slip and then just smooth it right over. Or sometimes I'll also use joint compound. That will also work really well. I feel like maybe it cracked because we have our heat blasting and I did not cover this enough. So that is a major tip. Alright guys, my little pie is ready to be painted, and I keep calling it a pie, but it actually is more of a tart because these are my inspo photos. I'm gonna give it a layer of paint, and then on top I'm actually gonna use soft pastels to give it more of like that baked good look. I've seen a lot of polymer clay artists use this technique, so I'm excited to try it out. And then I also have some other things like these little sprinkles that we have left over from Thanksgiving. This would look so cute on the tart. I picked this off of one of my garlands to use as like a fake rosemary. Instead of making my own, I thought I would just glue this on top and hopefully it'll look realistic. I'm really excited to do this because I've always wanted to make fake miniature food, and I already know it's gonna be so fun to make this come to life. Oh my goodness, you guys, this looks good enough to eat. Like, I love how this turned out. It is so cute. I'm really glad that I used the little star sprinkles. I think adding the greenery really makes it, so I definitely would recommend that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and resin everything. You could also just use any type of varnish, but I like to use UV resin because it will really make it shine. Guys, this literally looks good enough to eat. Like, I want to go out to a bakery right now and get some type of tart because this is making me hungry just looking at it. I cannot get over this, and I can't believe that I made everything with things I already had at home. Like, the only thing I really spent money on was the moss for that project behind me, which if you look at it, goes so perfectly with the rest of my Christmas decor up right now. Like, I can leave this up for fall and winter. So I hope you guys got some inspo for the winter season. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also let me know down in the comments which project was your favorite. And if you haven't yet, make sure to follow me over on Instagram where I post every single day. We are getting super close to 350,000 followers, which is insane. I share more projects over there and behind the scenes and daily life. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow me. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.